I just made a 2S Tiny Whoop with 22,000 kV motors. Now, normally, guys, when you have a quad on 2S, like the Cetus X, it's going to be taking a motor that's at least 11,000 kV, like this. But the only reason for that is because they have higher tolerance, but they have slower speeds. However, I made this little Meteor 75 Pro 2S with a motherboard and camera from the Cetus X, and I'm going to show you guys how I did it. Now, guys, this thing is fast. It's not all the way complete yet. I am currently designing a 3D model to fit the camera on this frame because this is from the Meteor 75 Pro. And to actually fit the AI board from the Cetus X in here, I had to actually shave this down a tiny bit, but after that, it fit perfectly. I also did have to remove the programming cable that was on the Cetus X, which is not too big of a deal because you can actually plug that in and do any beta flight programming you need to do pretty easily. However, I noticed that when I swapped the motors and frame, it actually handles very well with the original Cetus X firmware. It does freestyle fine, does recoveries fine. There's no prop wash or anything. And I highly recommend that you guys try this, but be warned that these motors, being 22,000 kV, they're made for only a 1S battery, maybe a high power 1S battery, but they can overheat and get damaged if you go too hard on this. I've actually been doing this for mostly flight time because with the higher kV motors, I get more RPMs with less volts, and with two batteries, that gives me a lot of flight time. But here's the build process. The first thing I did was I left the motors and props on the frame. And then, right about here, I shaved it down just a little bit on every edge so that the board would fit, and I also unplugged the programming cable. And then I cut a little slit right here near the back so I could slide the power cables through it. And I know what you're about to say. This little slit right here only holds one 1S battery. And I know that. I've just been using a rubber band over this guy and sort of wedging the camera into the original frame piece and sort of just holding it together for the first few test flights. But I'm going to resolve that when I put my 3D design on Thingiverse. And I will post a short when that is ready to be downloaded. But after that, I screwed this in and then plugged the motors in. There's no motor reversing needed. And it just flew great, just like that. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video with some flight footage.